I know that it's working because I see a light. As you might have seen, 9to5Mac did an excellent overview on how to pull this lovely power cord out of your HomePod. I don't know about you guys, but my first reaction when I saw that was internal screaming. I really don't like forcibly yanking anything from any kind of device, let alone a brand new $350 speaker. In the interest of science and maybe I don't know what else, torture of inanimate objects, we're gonna go ahead and do it. Your power cable actually is nestled in a small hole in the mesh for HomePod. There's not actually, the mesh isn't over the cable as it might appear at first glance. You really have to pull the power cable out of the mesh with a bit of a yank because there's a circular rim that clicks in to the HomePod. So if you really wanna pull it out, you can kind of give it your best strongman. Sorry, HomePod. There we go. I feel horrible now. So now that we have pulled the power cable out of the HomePod, I guess the real question is, should you pull your power cable out of the HomePod? And my answer is not really. I mean, unless you have a very good reason of needing a much smaller end to feed through an entertainment system, I just don't see the point in yanking at your power cable. You might risk damage to the internal electronics, which if you don't have AppleCare, could cost you up a hefty fee. You might damage the plastic ring on the cable itself, and then you'd also have to, again, pay a fee to go to Apple and get your power cable replaced. There's just not a lot of good reasons right now. Down the line, you know, it's entirely possible that Apple will either start selling these cables themselves, or third parties and repair shops might have a version of these cables that you can plug in. But for now, you know, power is kind of a dicey thing, and since the HomePod doesn't necessarily have any internal batteries to run off, your power cable is really the only thing that's saving this from being a $350 paperweight. Also, the other reason to not really pull this thing out unless you mean business, it's very easy to see which end it goes in because it's slanted to the HomePod, so if you put it at the wrong end, you'll have this little gap. Even putting it in the right way, it's very, very hard to push it back into place. The only way that I figured out how to get it back into place was physically using a table edge to pop it back into place, and that makes me cringe. Hey Siri, how do you feel after I've committed major surgery for you?
I can't get the answer to that on HomePod.
She's just a little bit embarrassed. For iMore, I'm Serenity Caldwell, and if you want, you know, how-tos on HomePod that don't involve yanking it to bits, you can find those on iMore.com as well as on this channel. Take it easy.